It was a quiet afternoon, comparable to every other in the lazy town of Tursaman. Calling Tursaman a town was a formality more than anything. Though it was the capital of both the Huxant and Lycavese races, its size was dwarfed in comparison by every other city, belonging to races such as the humans or the Ikpir. On the matter of the Ikpir, their capital, Zrazarus, had recently been improved upon quite substantially by the various chiefs of the Khoiseodratonic region. The city had received a number of architectural improvements, transforming the city from an archaic gathering of Druidoid architecture to a pristine line of proud towers dominating the area around. However, this town of Tursaman was quite the opposite. Whereas Zrazarus had numerous amounts of sky-scraping towers, Tursaman had only small huts and the occasional chapel. The stone architecture of the Ikpir would have looked quite unfitting next to the humble wooden cottages lining the dirt paths of such a quiet town. Rich fields of crops surrounded the town, where looming walls of granite, delicately carved with flowing patterns, flanked Zrazarus. In short, Tursaman was anything but a town that one would be led to call large or grand in any way. The Huxant were a quiet people, quite similar to the gnomes. Over the centuries, their bodies had slowly adapted to the farming lifestyle, growing naturally stocky. However, the way of the warrior never seemed to entice any of these creatures, as they were easily defeated by even the most feeble of humans in combat. Regardless, they had found themselves in a mutually beneficial agreement with the Lycavese race. These Lycavese were a curious bunch, extremely similar to elves, so much so that one might call them a subrace of the elves. Their thin bodies and slender faces were punctured by their intense and narrow eyes, glowing various shades of sapphire and amethyst colors. A rare few were graced to have eyes of ruby, usually marking a creature that was naturally attuned with the arcane arts. Though the Huxant were not familiar with magic in its fields, their lands provided the Lycavese with a peaceful place to study their arts. The humble homes and closeness to nature attracted these people to the Huxant, and the two races made a formal alliance to live together in harmony many rotations ago. Since then, they have littered each other's towns and villages, with one providing food through their agricultural ways, and the other providing protection and helping conjure a bountiful harvest year after year so that the Huxant could keep their bodies stout without any worries. It is important to understand a simple history of the Khoiseodratonic region before proceeding. Khoiseodratonis is a region formerly known as Zeodratonis, the prefix Khoi meaning old, named after the great Zeon. Zeon was an ancient Draodian wizard who sought to promote peace and harmony through the land. He decided the best way to do this was by uniting the Draodian and Druidoid people in an effort to end their constant quarreling. Discussions took place at an unknown time before the present day, and it is commonly believed that they took place in a section of Khoiseodratonis known as the Insidonier Flats, located to the southwest of the Seba Mountains, near Lake Nustal, a small lake to the north of Tursaman. It is said that the ruins of a room that Zeon met with his original council can be found at the foot of the Seba Mountains, though they are thoroughly hidden by rock and have not been found by many generations of dwarves and adventurers. It is also said that the inside of this room contains scrolls written by Zeon himself. Regardless, as a token of eternal appreciation, the region was named in his honor, and the Zeodratonic Council began. Oversought by the devotees of Pathelia, the goddess of blessings, the council saw peace and prosperity for many generations. As new races developed, soon the entire land was settled. The council continued to meet every rotation to discuss improvements to make to the cities and roads within the region. Leaders came and went, some bringing grand new changes that saw them immortalized in history, while others faded quietly and insignificantly. Overall, Zeodratonis was a quiet land, full of a diverse set of races and plenty of life. However, the region did not earn its translated name of Old Zeodratonis through age and peace alone. One day, a new Githzeri leader rose, who found quarrel with the ways of the council and disagreed with the faith in the goddess Pathelia. Zerag Grothmar, son of Mul Grothmar, believed that the council had been led astray a long time prior to his rise in power. Devoted to Typhus, god of chaos and destruction, Zerag instantly caused issues within the council. At each meeting, he would yell about how the council was mistreating the Githzeri race, leaving their grand Utradeatera empire and the city of Vertadinus to lie and deteriorate. This was true, for the council had recently been investing a great amount of gold and resources into the human race to improve their capital city of Rithertithe, but the rest of the council made an effort to deny his claims. In a fit of rage, Zarog slammed his fist into the mighty oak table that the council was seated at, splitting it with a mighty crack. He picked up his chair and threw it at Nureteak Stormbreaker, the dwarvish leader sitting next to him. The council members and Pathelian sages tried to stifle his rage, but Zarog would not be overcome. He left the meeting alive and rallied up his people in anger against the other races. Since then, the Gethzeri have been outcast from the rest of the Zeodratonic region, narrowly separated by a chain of mountains that naturally protects the dwarvish city of Strostrek. Following the slaughter of their leaders, each race sent messengers to one another, deciding that the Zeodratonic Council would be dissolved. In its place, each race would govern their own empire, and the region would be named Koi Zeodratonis. In addition, rotations have since been kept under record in order to better document events. So ends the brief and extremely abridged version of the history of the Koi Zeodratonic region. Now, it is obvious that I'm still struggling with the pronunciation of even the own names of my own characters, so I feel like if this is something that I should keep going on with, I just need suggestions for it. But for now, that's all that I have.